Today marks the first day of dozens of new laws here in Virginia, each signed by Governor Youngkin during this year's General Assembly session.
CBS 6 anchor Bill Fitzgerald is at the state capitol in downtown Richmond to explain just a few of those pieces of legislation that are now in effect.
One of the bills going to effect today stems from a tragedy out of Dinwiddie County last year. 28-year-old Iva Otieno died in March 2023 while in custody at Central State Hospital after being transported by Henrico Sheriff's deputies from Henrico Doctors Hospital. Since his death, Otieno's mother, Carolyn Woko, has worked around the clock to honor her son's memory by making a difference for other families under similar circumstances. IVAS Law, which was championed by Governor Youngkin, aims to ensure access for loved ones to people in a mental health crisis. That access is something Woko said she was denied during Otieno's last time at the hospital.
IVAS Law will give you access to be with your loved ones in a mental crisis as they navigate treatment, for support and supportive decision making. IVAS Law will alleviate the trauma that arises with separation. Our families are part of our mental health, and we need them besides us in those tough times.
This spring, prosecutors withdrew charges against 5 sheriff's deputies and downgraded charges for 2 deputies and a hospital worker in connection to Otieno's death. Another bill signed into law this session would limit the use of attack dogs inside prisons. A report from Business Insider last July found that of the nearly 300 documented cases of prison attack dogs biting inmates between 2017 and 2022, 271, more than 90%, were in Virginia. I spoke to legislators backing the bill.
I spent 16 years in prisons in Virginia, and I saw these dogs in action.
Sean Moneta is grateful a new law will curb the use of attack dogs in Virginia prisons, which he says makes them less safe.
It's not even so much of what they do, but it's the effect that they have on the environment and the escalated tensions. Many of these dogs, and we have lots of video of this, many of these dogs are snapping at the end of their leash. They at least appear to be, even if they aren't, they appear to be out of control, particularly to a layman.
An investigation last year by Business Insider revealed the vast majority, more than 90%, of inmate bites by prison dogs nationwide over a 5-year period happened in the Commonwealth.
So it's clearly a Virginia problem, not a national problem. Virginia was an outlier.
2 Virginia legislators saw the article and the need to address the problem.
We realized that DOC wasn't really adhering to a best practices kind of model, and so we wanted to institute a best practices and some guardrails where a canine can be used.
Delegates Michael Wiebert and Holly Siebold put together a bipartisan bill that, while not banning the dogs, would strictly limit how they're deployed.
A lot of the bites were from cell extractions, where a prisoner doesn't want to leave a cell, and so they send the dogs in to pull them out. And so they weren't necessarily using the canines to break up fights. They were being used just for routine patrol. And, to me, that was completely inhumane.
And Siebold says there will be accountability now as well.
Starting July 1st, they need to seek permission before they're deployed. And that means an officer needs to contact the supervisor or the warden and say, there's a major event happening, some sort of fight that involves multiple people, do I have permission to deploy the canines?
A statement from the Department of Corrections says the DOC supports the new law, which they say codifies, quote, already existing VA DOC operating procedures while increasing transparency regarding the use of canines in facilities. Further, the legislation does not limit the use of canines at facilities. But one former inmate says it does.
And you're scared to death that that handler is going to drop that leash and the dog's going to be a weapon and you can't defend yourself. And if you do defend yourself, then the code says that that's the same as assaulting a law enforcement officer.
As for other new laws going into effect today, there's one that bans the practice of declawing cats for cosmetic or behavioral reasons. There's also a bill that expands what roadkill can be claimed. Another bill names the European honeybee as the state pollinator of Virginia. And finally, one bill permanently establishes the sales tax holiday, which corrects a mistake from last year when lawmakers forgot to extend it.